I think the whole idea to create and to work with artists in the prospect of a school is actually very well needed. What fascinated me the most is also the history of this particular school, which has a history, was the first non-religious school actually in Belgium, and founded by Napoleon Bonaparte, and by now has about 60 or more nationalities. So it's a very multicultural thing. It's also a very conflictuous thing. It's not easy, but I think it also sort of resonates the idea that art and then culture as a larger thing is also kind of the glue that keeps it together. I think if you do a project, it has to be very purposeful and it has to be very focused. And the focus I'm proposing is a focus which is, of course, visual, because I'm a visual artist. And I think this is also the way not only to go to the conflict or the trauma, but also to create the necessary distance to deal with something, which I actually to do as an artist myself. Even when I teach in art schools and academies, I actually never believed in the real result. I believed in the process. It's a learning zone. I also don't think you become an artist in the academy, nor will you become a scholar in a school. You will become that afterwards. So this is the preliminary work that you have to go through. It's a very experimental zone you actually go into, and especially also because it can be very emotional for people. I think the best way is to relate it immediately back to the group and then come back to the person, not to focus on her or him, especially because that might be offensive. So you have to find, I don't say a gentle touch, but you have to really find the right moment, the right time, and also try not to put pressure. I think that's the most important thing. Being a professional artist and to work with people that are not professional artists is quite illuminating in this sense, that it actually also opens up and gives surprises back, which, I mean, it's always the same. I mean, maybe it's a cliche to say, but when a kid looks at your work and actually honors it, the kid has no pre-elected idea of what he's looking at. He's not an informed viewer, so to speak. So this is the best compliment you can ever get. The more artists come and the more different disciplines also will come into this project, the more rich it will get. And this can go from something like an anachronism, which is painting, it can go to a sound piece, it can go to making a proposition for a film, it can go music. I mean, there's lots of performances, for example, which are then more fleeting elements, but there are also things that stay to the building, which I think is also interesting because it creates part of the history. It creates momentum. The very first time I had a shock, that was with my uncle. It was also in Den Haag, in the museum. I was 12. It was the Stedelijk Museum in Amsterdam. And I saw a painting I didn't understand at all. It was a painting of Piet Mondriaan, which was just a diamond shape with two lines. And I knew it was something, but I didn't know what it was. And it had a very immediate, nearly religious impact to me. And so that was the first time I understood there was something else than you actually see. I mean, so there is an enigma, so to speak.